These are 7 lessons I wish I knew before starting a cleaning business. So for those of you out there who are looking to get started in the industry, the things in today's video that I'll discuss will be really, really important for you. When I started my own cleaning business 10 years or so ago, many people talked about the same things. They often neglected some of the key basics. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the top 7 things, the top 7 lessons that I wish I knew before getting started. So let's jump straight into it. So first of all, you will find that recruitment is the hardest part of scaling this business. So specifically, recruiting cleaners, recruiting good quality cleaners will be difficult whether you're going from 1 cleaner to 5 cleaners, from 5 cleaners to 10 cleaners, or 10 cleaners to 20 cleaners. Finding good quality people will often be your biggest stumbling block. When I was running recruitment in my business, we ended up only recruiting 1% of all cleaning applicants to our firm. So we would have 100 applications for a job and we would only end up recruiting 1 out of those 100. So finding good quality staff was really, really challenging, and it often meant that it was really a numbers game. We needed to make sure that we were getting enough applicants through the door so that we could really select the best people. Because what you find is that if you hire a good quality cleaner will obviously do a great job. Your clients will be really happy. Your clients, particularly your recurring clients, will stay with you for a number of years. They'll continue to pay you. And good quality cleaners will, if they're happy with working in your company, will also refer other friends and family who may be good quality cleaners to your business. So there will be a real asset. They will take very, very little management. They'll just go into the same weekly clients every time, do a fantastic job. The clients won't need to call you up and ask for different things to be changed. There won't be any complaints to deal with. And the best quality cleaners really just get on with their work. There's very little drama. They're just going in, cleaning for their clients, getting paid, and doing that every single week. What you find is that if you loosen your standards too far and you end up recruiting cleaners who are maybe not A-grade cleaners, maybe they're B-grade cleaners, you'll find that you'll have to spend more time dealing with customer complaints. Your clients might not be 100% happy. They may start leaving. You'll get a higher client churn rate, which in effect makes it harder to grow your business because you're losing that recurring revenue. So keep your standards really, really high. The other thing that I found when recruiting, over the years was actually that the softer skills were much more important than the harder skills. So what I mean by that is specifically soft skills like attitude, like, being on time, like being able to take on feedback and things like that were much, much more important than, for example, how many years cleaning experience that they have. How many years were they working in this 5-star hotel in the city? When I was starting out in my business, I placed a lot more emphasis on the experience rather than the softer skills. And actually, as my company evolved and as we grew and as we got a number of years under our belt, I shifted more of our focus towards these softer skills. So it's really important for you guys who are starting out, particularly, to make sure that you also place a lot of emphasis on these soft skills as well. So point 2 is about staff management. So staff management can be stressful. There is no getting away from that. When you are managing people in any business, whether it's a cleaning business or any other business out there, people are all individual. People are all different. They have all their specific things that are going on in their personal life. They've got all these different agendas going on. So managing staff can be stressful. And obviously, as you grow your business and you get more staff, as you go from 5 cleaners to 10 cleaners to 20 to 30, obviously the number of people that you're managing compounds. So your ability to manage your staff and keep them happy and engaged will have a huge influence on whether you're able to grow your business successfully. Because what you will find is that an engaged, happy workforce will definitely do a better job for you. Related to the first point, your clients will stay longer. If you've got good cleaners who are happy, they'll refer other good cleaners to you. And because recruitment is such a big challenge, getting good quality referrals will also be hugely beneficial for you. So you need to keep your workforce engaged. Find the best cleaners, make sure that they're happy. If you find cleaners that aren't up to scratch, then you need to get them out of the business. You want to focus more of your time on how do you make sure that your top performers are happy and continuing to do a great job and wanting to stay with your business long term. One of the things that we found was that obviously the pay rate is really important, and we need to make sure that we're paying our cleaners well. And I've always said, we want to pay at the top end of the market. We charge our clients at the top end. We're going after that very premium end of the market. So the pay rate is important, but the softer relationship is also really, really important. So to have an engaged workforce, you need to invest in some of your softer skills. So, trying to build a relationship with your cleaners. I remember in the early days, every month I would take our cleaners out for a coffee, maybe after one of their jobs in the gap between jobs. And, we'd just have a chat, obviously, about clients, how they're finding things, but also I'd, ask them about, how their lives were differently, things going on in their personal lives, and just trying to establish a bit more of a relationship. And what you find is that if you have that relationship, people will just be a lot more engaged. You will do a better job for people that you like versus people that you don't like. It's a very, very basic thing. So, as you grow your business, it obviously gets harder to find the time to engage with 40 cleaners versus 4 cleaners at the start. But I think having these regular catch-ups are really, really great. If you're local to where you operate and your cleaners are in your local town or city, try, I would say to take them out for a coffee probably once a month or once every couple of months. If you're running a remote model, that's much more difficult. You want to try and get your VAs, or if you're still quite involved in the business as the business owner, you want to try and have a monthly call, just an informal call, just to see how things are with them. You don't want to get to that stage where there is like a niggle with a particular cleaner. Maybe they've got a couple of clients that they just really driving them around the bend. They can't really tell anyone, and it just bubbles over, and then suddenly they say, okay, I've had enough, I want to do something else. You want to get ahead of that game, and so by having these regular catch-ups, it allows the cleaners to get any issues off their chest. You can help work through it with them. It's much better to do that than for them to contain it and bubble it over, and then suddenly they quit with no notice. So staff management is stressful, but there are definitely ways to get around that. If you can get that nut cracked, you will find that you can really scale the business much more quickly because your high quality staff are staying in the business for longer. So if you're finding the content in the video helpful, please like and subscribe. It really, really helps me. Let's jump on to point 3. So point 3 is that the client isn't always right. People often talk about, how the client is always right. We want to be going as far as possible to make sure that they're happy, say yes to everything. That is not the case. That is what I found in my business. Because really, the types of clients that I want in my business are clients that are really happy with what we do. Our cleaners go in there, the cleaners are happy, they talk to our cleaners well, we have a good relationship with our clients, with the VAs and office managers. The types of clients that we absolutely don't want are these high maintenance clients, these clients that have a long checklists, these clients that will call you after every cleaning to say, this thing was missed, or we want this thing doing, or that thing doing next time. These clients will suck up your time, and they will rarely be happy. And the reality is if they're like that, their friends and family are probably like that. You don't want to get referrals from these clients either. So you don't want to work with these high maintenance clients. So if some of these clients come to you and say, we've got a long checklist, your initial response shouldn't be yes, we'll do everything. And I know it's really difficult at the beginning when you're starting up your cleaning business. You're trying to get as much revenue, as many clients under your belt as possible, but really try to refrain from these types. And it's really, I tell my VAs, it's really obvious when you come across these types of new inquiries. Often these clients will be coming up with a long list of why their previous company wasn't up to scratch, how they have a long checklist that they want doing. you just want to politely decline those clients. You want to say something along the lines of, I'm sorry, at the moment we're extremely busy, we're fully booked in your location. The other way to look at it is maybe you can price your services that much higher. Maybe your standard rate is, however many dollars an hour, maybe you add on another 20%, with the view that says, okay, I'm willing to take on this new client, but it's got to be at a higher price because I think they're a high maintenance client. So this is something else that you might worth considering looking at as well. So point 4 is that the quality of your service is the best way to scale. So quality of service, specifically talking about the cleaning. If your cleaners are doing a great job, they're great cleaners, your clients are really, really happy, that is by far the best marketing channel you can have out there, because you will find that, those really happy clients will refer other clients to you. There'll be similar clients, similar requirements, similar standards, and you will start getting lots and lots of positive reviews on your Google business profile, your Facebook profile. This will help boost your organic SEO rankings, and this is a really, really great way to scale. If you can get this nailed down in your business, any additional marketing you do will just become a lot more powerful, because if you've got loads of great reviews on your Google business profile, for example, and you decide to start running a Google ads campaign, often a lot of people with the Google ads, a lot of clients who click on an ad will click off and do a bit of research, look into you, look at your reviews, and if they jump off that ad and see you've got 255-star reviews, they're going to say, let's go ahead and book that. So it makes all your other marketing really, really effective as well. So the quality of cleaning is fantastic. If you layer that on with a really high standard of customer service as well, you really have an unbeatable company. It will be very, very difficult for any of the cleaning companies in your area to compete with you, and particularly those clients, those premium clients, the wealthy clients that you really want to attract in your business. It will be a no-brainer for them to go with you. So customer service, there are lots of things that are involved with customer service. Some of the really basic things are things like, someone calls in, you pick up the phone. You'll be amazed how many missed calls I see from cleaning companies out there. So purely doing that is really important. Any emails that come in, you want to respond to those emails quickly. Any problems, you want to make sure that you're rectifying them properly. So let's say you had a recurring client who'd been with you for a number of months, and say something happened at the property. Maybe there was a breakage. You've got to jump on that. You've got to follow up with the client. It can't be the client chasing you for things like that. It's you being proactive as the business puts your customer service well ahead of everyone else. So quality service is really, really the best way to scale. Point 5 is that the clients that you want to focus on are recurring clients. So recurring clients, are those clients that get you to come in every week or every 2 weeks or every month. They're in the calendar on a recurring basis. I talk mostly about the residential cleaning industry on this channel. So, the homeowners that want us to come in for a standard clean on a recurring basis, those are the clients you really want to focus on, as opposed to these one-time clients who maybe get you to come and do a deep clean, or maybe they're moving in, want a move-in clean, or say a post-building works clean. Those jobs can absolutely generate a good amount of revenue. But what you'll find is that, if, lots of those jobs are quite individual. There might be some bespoke checklists because they're new clients. We're not sure of their expectations. So what you can find is that there can be a lot of management dealt with around those jobs. Whereas if you have a weekly client, assuming the first couple of cleans go to plan, cleans 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are exactly the same. The cleaner knows exactly what they're going into. The client knows exactly what to expect. There is very, very little that can go wrong in reality when you compare it to these one-off cleans. So the recurring clients is really where you want to focus. They tend to take less management than these one-off jobs. And the other beauty of recurring clients is obviously they pay you money every single month. So, when you start off the following month, you can simply take the recurring clients that you have in your previous month, and you know that you're going to have that certain level of revenue coming in, and any new clients will just be additive on top of that. So this, in my experience and in my view, is really the best way to scale your business. If your business is focused more on one-off cleaning, you have to start the next month from zero. You have to replace the revenue from last month with new jobs and generate more to grow your business, whereas the recurring clients simply stack up for following months. And then point 7 is really, you want to always be marketing and recruiting. So, in its basic form, the cleaning business consists of two sides. You've got your clients on one side, and you want to be growing your clients because they're the ones paying. But you also need to have a cleaners, and your cleaners need to be growing as well, because if you do not have enough cleaners with capacity, then you can't book them in with new clients, and you can't grow the business from there. So we need to be growing both the client side and the cleaner side. But the other thing to be aware of is that you will get recurring clients cancelling each month. Hopefully a low number. Should certainly be well below 10%, ideally in that 5% monthly range. So you will get clients that cancel each month, and that is natural. Some will be moving out of town, some may have financial issues, but you want to make sure that you are growing more, adding more clients, so that you can replace those that you lose, so that you're growing on the other side. And you'll also get the same thing in your cleaner side. You probably won't see this too significantly when you only got a handful of cleaners, but when you have 10, 15, 20, 30 cleaners, you will also see that a certain number of your cleaners will leave each month as well. They are also moving out of town, or maybe they are changing jobs. We obviously want to minimize the amount of churn on both sides, because it means that if we can minimize that churn, it means that any new client, we don't need as many clients or cleaners to replace the ones we have lost. So it means that we can grow the business much more easily on that side. So the cleaner growth and client growth, we want to be focused on both of those sides. And this, those of you that have been in the industry for a little while will realize that really you will see lots of periods where it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And you rarely get a smooth growth trajectory. You may one week may get a flurry of client leads, and then the next week it may be a lot quieter. On the recruitment side, it may be impossible. You haven't come across any great cleaner candidates, and suddenly you get 2 or 3 in 1 week. So it's not consistent. So we want to make sure that we are always recruiting, that we're always running our Indeed ads, for example, to get applicants coming in through the door and recruit good cleaners when we come across them. And we also need to be doing the same on the marketing side. So with the client marketing, I believe that the best way to be running your client marketing in your business is really to focus on Google. Google is ultimately the first place people still go to, if they're serious about booking a cleaning service. They're not browsing through Facebook posts or scrolling through TikTok. If you want a cleaning company and hire a cleaning company, you still go to Google. So I think on the client marketing side, you should always be running a Google-centric marketing strategy. And this is what I'm going to talk about in this next video. It's called the Google domination strategy. It's how I run Google marketing for my clients. It's a combination of Google ads, local service ads, and SEO. So I'll give you a great intro into some of the things that I think you really, really want to be focused on. So I'll see you on the next one.